plans for Gennady, and you know, April and Gennady are always focused on the event at hand. Coming up, February 21 is going to be here before you know it. Abel always comes up with the right game plan to have Gennady at his best, and always putting on a big drama show in the ring. And so I'd like to recognize someone who's been doing this a long time. In our view, Trainer of the Year for what he's accomplished. He's now another year for 3 knockouts in a row with Gennady, but also developing a lot of other fighters that he has up at the summit. This is Abel Sanchez.
Thank you for showing up. I see a lot of old friends here. Sure, it's nice to be in LA again. A lot of new friends too. It has been a great ride with Gennady. 2014, a little interruption, but it was a good year for us. 2015, I think it's going to get to the point where these guys stop making the excuses that they've been making and get somebody in the ring with Gennady that will not only prove to me, but prove to everybody else that he is what I've been saying he is. We started training camp 2 weeks ago. Martin Murray, to me, is a very, very good challenge. I mean, he's a guy that's gone 12 rounds with 2 elite fighters, Sturm and Martinez. So we're looking for a very hard fight, but if Gennady performs like he has been performing, we should be in for a great night. Thank you.
It's because of Abel that we had named the Rubio fight Mexican style, because he's instilled that into Gennady's style and really taken Gennady to a different level. You know, what can I say about Gennady that that we haven't said before? You know, he's clearly, in our opinion, was a fighter of the year. I know there was a lot of debate on who it was, but you know, when he's the fan favorite, when he wins all the fan polls as to who they thought was fighter of the year, I think that makes the biggest statement. Gennady brings new fans to the sport. You know, fans that came to see him fight Gil in Madison Square Garden, and fans that came to see him fight Rubio here in StubHub. You know, I got a lot of reaction that said that it's the first time they've ever seen a live boxing event. So that's what I think Gennady, it's not only the responsibility that he has, you know, for his career, for his country, for his family, but also for the sport of boxing. He carries it as an ambassador. He's actually growing the sport of boxing. That's what we're really excited about, and for the future for his career. So, with that being said, most dangerous man on the planet with the highest knockout percentage of any active champion, Gennady GGG Golovkin.
First, I would like to thank everything I come here and just the support very important for me, for my career, for my fights last year. I had 3 fights last year. I was happy with my performance, with my team. I had last year. I had good experiences last year. Monaco, Madison Square Garden, StubHub Center. It's a good time for me. And the trip to Mexico City, to London, to be my new WBC belt. Oh, I had a great time. I think this year is maybe same, maybe better. I hope so. I'm training hard. My focus on Murray now. No, I think Martin Murray, he will be one of my biggest challenges of my career. He's strong guy, he's big guy. But I will be ready for him and for everyone. I think great idea for European style, for Mexican, or for Monaco, and big present for everybody. Thank you very much for my fans. Thank you very much.
can open it up for questions and then break off for some one-on-ones. I think Abel has to leave shortly, so if there's any questions for Abel, maybe ask them first. Just want to emphasize also, just going back to building Gennady's global brand, this is actually the 5th press conference we've had for this upcoming event on February 21. 5 press conferences in 5 different countries. I think that's unprecedented. So we're really doing everything on our side that we can to build Gennady's career, and he delivers every time he gets in the ring. So it's been working out great, and we wanted to end the world tour here in Los Angeles, where Gennady is a resident now of Los Angeles, and I think you'll find a lot more fights taking place here in the city of Angels. So with that being said, we can open up. Do you want to recognize the people?
If you raise your hand, you'll be recognized one at a time, please. Go ahead,
Well, happy New Year, first of all. The weather has changed up in the mountains. It's gotten a lot colder. Is it better for him under these type of conditions to train? Or you feel like
Well, first of all, the reason I have to leave is not because I don't want to be with you guys. It's Murad Gassiev is going to spar at 2:30 in another part of town. This is a very important press conference for us, but as Gennady understands, Gassiev has to get that sparring. The weather has changed in Big Bear, but Gennady comes from a climate and from a region that's a heck of a lot colder than we've ever seen. So I don't think it's gonna bother him. He's used to the weather, so he likes running in the snow. He likes running in the summertime. He's just an athlete that just likes to work. He just wants to stay busy, and he'll deal with whatever consequence or circumstances there is at the particular time he's in camp. So there shouldn't be any reason why he's not going to be as prepared as he was in the summertime.
Robert, go ahead.
Abel, can you just share with us what challenges Martin Murray creates for you guys?
Martin Murray is a guy who's done 12 rounds with Felix Sturm and got a draw in Germany, which to us tells you that maybe he won that fight in 12 rounds with Martinez in front of 40,000 Argentinians, which again, I think he won that fight. He's a big guy. He's a guy that maybe doesn't have the punching power that Gennady does, but he's a durable, formidable opponent that's got, what, 30 wins, I think, and just that one loss. So he's a guy that I know has been at that level for a long time, and is not going to be scared of anything that Gennady comes at him with. So if he comes to fight, if he comes to actually win, then I think that it's going to take a little while to get him out of there. But if he decides to put his earmuffs on, as I've seen him do in some fights, he may get beat to the body and it'll be a quick night.
Greg, go ahead.
Abel, how can Gennady improve this year? What are you working on?
You know, we try to take each training camp, and at the beginning of training camp, he and I discuss a couple of things that I want to work on different than we did in the previous training camp, just so that every training camp doesn't become a monotony. It becomes something that we're trying to work on certain facets so that when he does get to the so-called elite fighters, we've practiced about everything that we need to practice to be able to beat them. I'm not going to divulge what it is that we were practicing on this one, but for the last one was trying to go to the body. We thought we were going to fight Chavez originally for the last one, so we're trying to work on blocking the body shot and countering it and making sure that Chavez understood that there was something coming back at him. So for this one's a little bit different because Martin Murray is a different kind of fighter, but we are working on different things for this training camp.
Alan, in the back.
Abel, you've talked about this since you started working with Gennady. A lot of times in boxing we think it's just trainer's height. But it's hard to define, but can you tell us why you think this guy's a step above all the other hundreds of fighters that you've worked with and you've seen? What, if you can put your finger on it, what makes him that extra dimension?
Or three and a half years ago, I sent an email to Robert Morales telling him that I had the next big thing in boxing in my gym. And Robert answered me like, yeah, like, you would do most trainers, yeah, sure.
Like I did?
Yeah, like you did. You know, I've had two very intelligent fighters in my career. One was Orlin Norris, who couldn't punch, and the other one's Gennady Golovkin. Two intelligent fighters that are very skilled, that are going to make you make the mistakes that they want you to make, and then capitalize on them. that is one of his biggest assets. The other one is he continues to work in the gym to perfect the things that we are trying to do. The foot movement and the cutting off the ring that people keep talking about, that's not something that he doesn't practice. He practices that every day. In order to get better and to make sure that we can deal with the guys, the elite guys, the so-called elite guys, that's even going to have to get better. So it's just a matter of not getting complacent and making sure that we don't forget anything that we practiced in the past and continue to practice it and continue to improve.
Igor?
Abel, so I remember that time about 3.5 years ago, you invited us to go up to Big Bear. So my question to you is, how soon did you know that you had a special fighter on your hands?
I knew the first day that I caught him on the mitts. Very seldom, I've been fortunate enough, first of all, I've been fortunate enough to catch Ricardo Lopez, Trinidad, Samuel Peter, some of the big so-called big punchers. And when I first caught Gennady on the mitts, I felt it all the way down to my toes. And my brain lights up, my eyes light up, everything and then as you start working with him, not only does he have the power, but he has the intelligence and he has the ability to do exactly what you want him to do and to practice the things that you want him to do. I told him that it would take 3 years. I think it took 3 years to get to the point where we had a title shot. I told him that it would take 3 years and I would make him the best middleweight in the world and the most avoided middleweight in the world, and I think we've done that. Now it's just a matter of not getting complacent, like I said, and just continue to evolve and continue to improve and continue to make sure that we give the fans, because I believe it's our responsibility to give the fans what they want, what they pay their hard-earned money to see.
Michael?
Abel, Murray's one of the taller opponents Gennady's faced. I believe he's about 6 feet tall. He actually has a longer reach than Gennady. Does that change the strategy as far as how you're going to fight the fight?
No, because Gennady will cut him down to 5'10". I think that I've never been the kind of coach that's going to adapt to somebody. They're going to have to adapt to us. They're going to have to adapt to us and make sure that they have enough ability or enough in their tank or enough gumption to be able to handle what Gennady's going to come at him with. Once Gennady hits him with one shot, he'll be, like I said, back down to 5'10".
You said so-called A-listers, and you've also said so-called punchers, like during this press conference. Do you think, like right now, with the way that Gennady has performed, that maybe he's starting to outshine like these so-called A-listers, and maybe the questions need to change?
Well, I think he has outshined them, but I've said in the past that it's up to you folks to shame them or to ask the questions that you're asking me. Ask them why not. Ask Peter why not. If Peter says that he's not known, just read him the numbers. Freddie says that he's never seen Golovkin. Freddie's smarter than me. I know Freddie's seen Golovkin. And Freddie says that he's not known enough. Freddie's been around too long to say those things. But you folks need to make sure that when May comes along and he fights somebody, Cotto fights somebody, and wins, if he wins, that you ask them why they're not doing what the WBC ordered. Why are they different if they choose not to? And if he chooses to go down to 154, that's okay with us too. The fact is that Gennady wants to be the best at 160 and wants to have all the belts, and if Cotto doesn't want to fight him, that's okay. We'll fight somebody else with that belt. But the A-listers have to be asked those questions and be put on notice that this kid is here to stay and this kid is the best middleweight in the world, and if he's not, then prove it.
So do you think that we haven't been pressing enough for that, or we haven't been putting him on the spot?
You're pressing, but you're not saying, okay, when Peter talks about there's not enough draw in him, well, just all you have to do is just mention the fact that he sold out StubHub, and I think that they went up 3 or 4 times in the seating, and does very well on HBO, and Ray can attest to that. Did 8,500 or 8,400 in New York? So every arena that he goes to, he's selling out. What does he have to do? Sell at Dodger Stadium before he's a draw?
Hey, well, I gotta ask you this. Can you describe a phone call where you call another trainer and say, hey, I need sparring for Genna? How does that work?
Actually, we got a lot of volunteers, believe it or not. Tom's called me about 3 or 4 names. And I think the reason that they're volunteering is because they know that Gennady is not abusive. They know that Gennady is not going to try to take advantage of them. They know that Gennady is going to work with them and teach them, because of the other guys that have come before them, and you can talk to any sparring partner that has ever been in their camp. Gennady is the first to sit back after the sparring session and kind of explain to you why he got hit with a particular punch, why he's doing this to you, why you need to change. He's willing to teach so that these guys get better, and in turn Gennady gets better.
Next one. Please.
Abel, we talked about him being the best middleweight right now. When you look at the landscape, is there anybody that even is a threat to Gennady at this point? Who would that fighter be if you see him now?
I think that there's 3 or 4 guys that are a threat, but they have to get in the ring so we can find out. I think that Cotto is a threat because he's a champion and he's got a long storied career. He's a Hall of Famer. I think Canelo's a threat because he's young, he's strong. He's proven that he can deal with the big names like he did with Mayweather. May not have won, but he dealt with them. I think that Frach is a formidable challenge. I think that Julio's a big challenge. I think that Andre, if he ever gets all that stuff taken care of with his promoters and Tom and the people who come together for a fight, I think they're all a challenge. I'm just as anxious and excited about finding out whether he is the real thing. Maybe he's not.
The last 3 names you named are actually 168 pounders. Let's say the first half of 2015 goes as you guys plan. You guys get past Murray, the winner of Cotto, whoever he faces, fights Golovkin, Golovkin fights that, and no middleweights want to come up to the table. A move up to 168 seems...
I'm very fortunate that I don't have that headache. That's Tom's headache. I have to worry about the next guy that they put in front of us, and we agree to. And if it's 168 pounder, then we'll deal with it then. But I think Tom and the Herman brothers are the guys that those questions should be directed at, because I do my job and they do theirs. I think that's why this team works, why this has gone as long as it hasn't so successful, because in such a short time, it's because, like I said, I do my job and Tom does his.
Abel, if you had to choose, if you can't get the big names at 160, and you had to choose between going to 68 or maybe collecting some other titles at 160 against an Andy Lee or somebody like that, which would you rather have if you had your say?
I've always said that for me, the fight that I've always wanted to see was Julio Chavez Jr. against Gennady. And the reason being is back in 1991, the kid that I had, Terry Norris, was offered a fight against his dad, Julio Sr. He backed out of the fight. So I would like to see that fight, and I think the 2 styles will really mesh really well. And Julio being as big as he's going to be by the time fight time comes, and having the chin that his daddy gave him from birth, would make for a 12-round memorable fight.
Please do that in LA. If you do it.
Talk to Tom here.
Please, Tom, please.
Anyone else?
Thank you very much. I have to leave. Have a great day.
And if you want to, if there's any other questions for Gennady or for myself on the business side, promotional side, we'd be happy to. Then we'll break down into one-on-ones.
Tom, who would you want to see Gennady fight after Murray?
Honestly, Elliot, it's one of those things. Whoever agrees to get in the ring with me. That's why we have a lot of respect for Gio, Rubio, and now for Martin Murray. But the ideal fight, I think, either Canelo or Cotto, huge names. Cotto's WBC middleweight champion, and those 2 seem to be the biggest names from the promotional side.
David, go ahead.
Gennady, how was Mexico City for you? What was it like?
I had a great time. It was a beautiful city, biggest city for me. Great people, great atmosphere. I'm very happy with it. A lot of attention coming. I had a great time.
Did you kick the subway?
Sometimes,
The last time I spoke with you, of the middleweight boxing history, I love this like on top of your list was Marvin Hagler. What about Marvin Hagler's fighting style that you like the most about him?
I respect Marvin. He's a great champion. I saw a lot of fights. I think he's speed, his power, his power is very important. His style, very important. His self-ball. Great champion. I know. Biggest name. Of course. I respect a lot of champions. Sugar Robinson, of course. Sugar Leon, just middle division. Different styles and great champions. Respect.
We'll do the one-on-ones for the videos over here, and